And so we have come to the final week of the NFL season. Some teams this weekend playing for absolutely nothing. Other teams have the fate of other teams in their hand, and some teams playing for a push at the playoffs and one final chance to do so. Most of your early afternoon games are generally not that exciting because a lot of them are just exhibition games that don't have too much to play for. And then once we hit 425, everything hits the fan, and all of those games have something of value to them. And obviously, your NFC West battle Sunday night is your final game of the regular season. The playoffs and everything will be decided after this weekend. So let's preview and predict what is going to happen this Sunday. 1 o'clock. The 1 o'clock frames, like I mentioned in the intro, generally are not that exciting, and they don't have much to play for. A lot of these games prior to the week upcoming, a lot of them were flexed. A lot of them were pushed over to 4 o'clock just to generate people's interest, because I guess they want to get the 1 o'clock games out of the way because they don't figure that the 1 o'clock games are going to really generate that much interest. There are some teams that are playing 1 o'clock that have a chance to clinch a bye or whatnot, but for the most part, all of the games that are in the 4 o'clock frame are the ones that you're going to want to watch. The first game we're going to preview is Atlanta and Tampa Bay. That is Sunday at 1 o'clock. These are two teams that have nothing to play for. Obviously, both quarterbacks are towards the top of the league in passing yards, but their teams have not benefited from that. Tampa Bay is hosting this game. They're playing Atlanta. It's the final game of the season. I would expect this to be a high-scoring game. Again, both of these teams are not playing for anything. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons to win this game because I feel that Julio Jones is going to have a good game, and it's their last showing. And I think the best that the Falcons could probably do at this point would be to go 7-9, because again, this was a disappointing season. They started off terrible, but for some type of way, the Atlanta Falcons sort of rebounded. It was not the season they wanted to have, and the same thing with Tampa. Even if Tampa were to win, they'd be 8-8. We all kind of predicted a season like that for Tampa Bay. Is it Jameis Winston's last game as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer? I don't know that. I don't know his exact contract status. But I'm going to go with the Falcons to win this, and this should be a high-scoring game. So if you're an offensive-minded person that likes to see a lot of scoring, this might be the game for you. New England Patriots hosting the Miami Dolphins Sunday at 1 o'clock. The Patriots can clinch a first-round bye if they are to be victorious. And even though it is the last week of the season, I do not see the Miami Dolphins beating the New England Patriots. I'm going to go with the Patriots to win this, and they're going to clinch a first-round bye, and they'll finish their season 13-3. Even though they've been massively underwhelming to a lot of people, regardless of what you say, the Patriots winning this game, they still finished 13-3, and that's better than a lot of teams. So the Patriots will win this game against the Dolphins. I don't know if they're going to dominate, but the Dolphins are going to probably finish the season 5-11 after this loss. The Patriots will clinch a first-round bye, and that will lead me to a game I'm going to talk about in a minute with another team that potentially has another opportunity to do so. Chicago, Minnesota, Sunday, 1 o'clock. The Bears, 7-8. They're going to look to finish their season at the 500 mark. They're going to be going to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. The Vikings most likely will be playing. They will be actually playing on Wild Card Weekend next week. They're hosting the Chicago Bears here, and I don't really see a reason as to why this game would be anything spectacular. I'm going to go with the Chicago Bears to upset the Minnesota Vikings in this game. That is not a favorable decision by a lot of people, but that is one that I'm going to go with because I feel that the Chicago Bears just want to get to that 500 mark, and they've played a little bit better recently in the last couple weeks, even though they've been still underwhelming. I think they will hold down Minnesota, and I, for some reason, see the Vikings losing this game, even though they are in Minnesota. That's what I'm going with. A game of some importance and value of the Sunday 1 o'clock frame. That is the LA Chargers going to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs have the opportunity to clinch a first-round bye if they are to win and New England is to lose. So I don't think the Chiefs will have any problem not winning, but I don't think New England will lose. Again, these games don't necessarily give you the best sample to evaluate a team because it's week 17. And how important are Week 17 games. But I'm going to go with Kansas City to still win this regardless. Could this be Phillip Rivers' last game? Again, I don't know his contract status. Certain things like that I could have probably researched prior to the video. But I'm going to go with Kansas City to win this. But despite winning, New England is still going to win their game. So Kansas City is not going to have a first round bye, but they will be into the playoffs, and they will be hosting a wild card game against somebody, most likely. Sunday, 1 o'clock, Green Bay and Detroit. Green Bay wants to clinch the first round bye, and they want to clinch home field as well. They need a couple of things to happen. They need to win. And actually, to my knowledge, that's all they have to do. I'm pretty sure, if I'm correct, if Green Bay wins this, they clinch a first round bye and home field, perhaps even throughout the playoffs. They're playing a atrocious Detroit Lions team that is 3-11 in Detroit. And no matter what you tell me, the Green Bay Packers are still going to win this game because, again, these are some of those teams that they might not want to go all out, but they have a chance to alter their playoff schedule and put it to their benefit. So I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers to beat the Detroit Lions. And the reason that I haven't gotten into some depth to preview a lot of these games is because it's the last week of the season, and for some teams it just doesn't matter. And that is the Battle of Ohio. Speaking of things that do not matter, the Cleveland Browns are going to Cincinnati to take on the 1-14 Bengals. The Cleveland Browns, prior to the season, was a team that a lot of us were positioning at a 10-plus win team, and that clearly did not happen, and I thought that they were overrated. A lot of egos on their team and just a variety of things like that. But they are going to win this game. They are going to beat Cincinnati, and Cincinnati is going to finish with a miserable 1-15 record on their season. Cleveland Browns are going to finish 7-9. That is by no means good, especially for a team that was put at such a high value like them. Cleveland Browns are going to win this game. They're going to finish 7-9. Obviously, they were eliminated from the playoffs last week, and it's going to be very interesting to see where a team like Cleveland, especially the Browns, are looking to go moving forward. 1 o'clock, New Orleans and the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers started off somewhat decent, and they completely fell, and they're going to end their season just how most of it is gone, and that is on a losing note. They are hosting the New Orleans Saints, who are looking to get that win and also clinch a first-round bye. They need a couple of other things to happen as well. There are so many scenarios that I did not go over all of them. I'm going over the most common ones. Again, there are so many different scenarios that go into this, but the Saints are going to beat the Panthers by a margin. I can't really tell you, but I do expect that the elite teams that are playing in the 1 o'clock frame, since a lot of them are playing lesser skilled teams, they are going to run right through those teams and put them out of their misery. Probably the most pointless game. I don't really think the Bills can do anything else. I think they've already clinched a wild card. They can't win the division. So it is going to be the Buffalo Bills hosting the New York Jets. Sunday, this is your final Sunday 1 o'clock game to review. And I'm going to go with the New York Jets to win this one. I think that they've not played spoiler, but they've won a lot of games that people didn't think they were going to win, and they've won games that and spoiled teams. The Jets like to play spoiler. They spoiled the Steelers last week, but then they lose to a team like the Bengals. They spoil a team like the Cowboys. And I think that the Jets are going to be due for a win here. It's not going to do anything for them. I think the best thing the Jets could do would be to finish with less than double-digit losses, and that would be 7-9. The Bills don't have much to play for. They're going to be playing the following week, hosting someone wild card weekend. So I think the Jets are going to go all out, and the Bills might not. So I'm going to go with the New York Jets to beat the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. Sunday, 4:25. This is not a game that really matters, but it's on the 4:25 slot, and it's the LA Rams hosting the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, the LA Rams were eliminated from the playoffs last week after a good showing against the Dallas Cowboys. They completely faltered. This game doesn't mean much. I've said this about the Arizona Cardinals. I think that going forward, the Arizona Cardinals are going to be a team that, if they build the right pieces around Kyler Murray, that they could be a very good team. And I've made mention of that various times. The LA Rams just didn't seem to really have much of it this year. They were trying to figure out what was going on. Their offense wasn't sparking. They weren't putting up points like they were. I wouldn't say Aaron Donald was bad, but their defense was a little bit underwhelming. But I think that they go out winners, and I think that the Rams finish 9-7 and beat the Arizona Cardinals. Slim is the one word to describe the Oakland Raiders' playoff hopes, but it's possible. I'm putting this game as my potential game of the week. It's obviously not going to be the game of the week, but it could be a much better game than a lot of people think, and that is the Raiders going to Denver to take on the Broncos, who are 6-9. Broncos have had a terrible offense all season long. Joe Flacco hurt, and Drew Lock has brought those bright spots and just that, has brought that sense of hope for the Denver Broncos. And I think that The Raiders clearly need to win this game for them to just stay relevant, and they need about 5 other scenarios to happen. I don't think the Raiders are going to make the playoffs. Do I think they're going to win this game? Normally, I'd say yes, but the way that Drew Lock has been playing, I think that this is a very questionable game, and I'm very concerned or very interested to see what we get from Oakland and Denver on the final week of the season. I still think the Raiders are going to win it because they have to. Even if the Raiders don't make the playoffs, which I think is very highly unlikely, I think they'll go out 500, and I think they will beat the Denver Broncos. NFC East matchup, the New York Giants hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. After the Eagles were silencing the Dallas Cowboys last week, all they have to do is win this game against the 4-11 New York Giants, and they're in the playoffs. Now, this is a harder task than it seems because the New York Giants are in a lose-lose situation. If the New York Giants win and Dallas wins, they help the Cowboys get into the playoffs. If the Giants lose, they help the Eagles get into the playoffs. So regardless of what happens, the Giants are helping their divisional rivals get further ahead. So really, there's no win that comes out of this for the Giants. But I think they're going to come out swinging, and they're going to come out hard Sunday against the Eagles. I think it's going to be a really good game. Do I think the Giants are going to win? Nope. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this game, and they're going to clinch the NFC East and host a playoff game the following week. Indiana, Jacksonville. From what I know, I think the Colts need about different things to happen too, but they may be eliminated as well. They're going to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars in a AFC South matchup. The Colts are going to beat the Jaguars. I don't know by how much, but the Jaguars are not good. They are one of the most overrated teams in the NFL, and they are 5-10. I've never said I don't think that Minshew is that great, and I've made mention of that. I think that he got to where he was because of his mustache and a lot of his what's the word for it? Just the hype behind him, behind a couple of wins. The Colts are going to win this and finish 500 on the season. Titans, Texans. I am a Titans fan for all of you that know, and this is a crucial game. Now, the Titans could lose and still make the playoffs, but I don't think that that's the way we want to go out, especially against Houston. Houston beat us just by the skin of their teeth 2 weeks ago in Nashville, and now the Titans are on to Houston. All the Titans have to do to make the playoffs is win this game. Win a game against your division rival, and you're in. Now, the Titans could still make it because realistically, if they lose and Pittsburgh loses, the Titans still get the division. Or the Titans still get the division. The Titans still get the wild card. If the Titans win and Pittsburgh wins, the Titans still have it. So the advantage is in the Titans' court. But the worst case scenario would be if the Titans lose and Pittsburgh wins, that puts Pittsburgh in. I'm going to go with the Titans to win this game. We are in desperation mode, and obviously Houston can affect some seeding, but I think that the Titans are going to finish 9-7, and they're going to push themselves into the playoffs, and it will be very interesting to see how competitive we can really be on a stage like that. Dallas, Washington. I'm going to go with Dallas to win this game because Dallas needs to win this game, and the best thing that they can do after their season took a complete downward turn would be to finish 500. The problem is that the Eagles are going to also win. So Dallas will go out on a winning note, but they will not make the playoffs because the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win their game against the New York Giants. Another possible scenario, the Baltimore Ravens, Sunday 4/25, are going to be resting most of their starters. They've already clinched a first-round bye and home field throughout the playoffs. They have absolutely nothing to play for. The Pittsburgh Steelers, on the other hand, have everything to play for. They are trying to get the AFC wildcard 6 seed, and they're in a very tricky situation. The first thing that is very important is that the Steelers need to win. Do I think the Steelers will win? Yes, because the Ravens are not playing for anything. Do I think the Titans will also win? Yes. So I think that Pittsburgh goes out winners and they go out 9-7, but I don't think that they go into the playoffs because I think the Titans will win as well. But this could be a very interesting game because if Baltimore still puts the smackdown on them with resting most of their starters, it just goes to show you how good they really are. Final game of the week. It is for the NFC West and two teams that have been at an elite level all year. It is the Seattle Seahawks hosting the San Francisco 49ers in a battle for the NFC West. The 49ers are 12-3, and the Seattle Seahawks are 11-4. Marshawn Lynch has been the talking story of the week as Chris Carson is out for the year. They elected to sign him, and I'm sure that Marshawn Lynch is going to be getting a boatload of carries in this game because they're going to want to get that turf rust right out of him, and they're going to want him to be prepared for the playoffs upcoming. And this is a very big game, and I think that it is one that Seattle is going to win. They're home. They have a great home crowd, and I think that Marshawn Lynch could impact this game heavily. So I'm going to go with Seattle Seahawks to win the NFC West, and which will mean that, if I'm correct, the 49ers will be traveling to Philadelphia. How unfair is that? This is your final preview and predictions. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching.